Prince Harry landed in Britain with hopes that this visit might open a path toward healing. He expected discretion, a low-profile trip, a few private conversations, perhaps even a small gesture of goodwill behind palace doors. What he received instead was the iciest welcome imaginable. And it wasn't only the press or palace staff keeping their distance. The chill came from the very institution he once proudly served, the military. Soldiers stood in immaculate formation, uniforms sharp, eyes fixed ahead. Yet as Harry walked by, there was nothing. No nod, no salute. Not even a flicker of recognition. It was as though he no longer existed. For a man who had worn that same uniform and earned genuine respect on active duty, the silence was deafening. Captured on video and instantly shared worldwide, the moment became a spectacle. Suddenly, this was no longer about family tension. It was about respect denied, a silent but devastating statement. In the royal world, a salute isn't just tradition. It's validation, and its absence was louder than any insult Harry had ever faced. A military salute is never casual. It's recognition. It marks honor, status, belonging. You don't receive it just for showing up. You earn it because you remain part of the fold. And in that moment, Prince Harry wasn't. The same man once cheered for his service in Afghanistan, who wore his Blues and Royals uniform with pride, who had stood tall at parades as a decorated soldier, now walked past a line of guards who didn't even twitch. For many watching, it was a gut punch. Whether you support Harry or the palace, the symbolism was impossible to ignore. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was cold, clean, deliberate. Guards stood still, posture perfect, eyes forward, yet their silence screamed. That made the snub sharper. Insiders insist this wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't a handful of guards acting on impulse. It was protocol, calculated and enforced. No salute, no nod, no acknowledgement. Just the chilling message that Harry was no longer one of them. Some messages don't need words. They're broadcast in silence. The royal family avoids public theatrics, but this moment spoke volumes. Actions have consequences. Harry didn't simply step back from royal duties. He stepped into something entirely different. He swapped centuries of tradition for celebrity culture, with Netflix deals, headline-grabbing interviews, and explosive documentaries. Every choice pushed him further away from the institution he was born into. To supporters, this was courage. To critics, it was betrayal. But whichever side you take, the fallout is undeniable. His most recent visit to the UK was framed as a chance for healing, quiet talks with King Charles, a possible path to reconciliation. Yet the optics told another story. Guards stood rigid, eyes forward, withholding even the smallest gesture of acknowledgement. No salute, no nod, no warmth. Just silence. That silence carried a weight no statement could match. And even without Meghan Markle physically present, her influence lingers. For many, she remains the spark that ignited Harry's break, the shadow hovering over every attempt to rebuild trust. Some blame Meghan Markle for Harry's estrangement. Others say she helped him find his voice. Either way, her influence lingers over every action he takes. This visit was no different. You could sense it in every pause, every glance, every silent moment. The soldiers' refusal to salute didn't just sting. It sent a clear message. Even a prince, even someone born into one of the world's most powerful families, must earn and maintain respect. Step away from the throne and don't expect it to follow you. It wasn't only the soldiers. The entire atmosphere was altered. Harry arrived without the traditional motorcade, without fanfare, without a formal welcome. No press release, no flag in his honor. Staff reportedly received strict instructions to keep attention minimal. Every detail, every omission underscored the same point. Status isn't automatic. It's conditional, and the royal institution was sending a precise, unspoken message about boundaries, duty, and consequences. Everything remained strictly professional. No gestures that could be mistaken for ceremony. Harry had returned but not welcomed. He was just another visitor with a famous name. For someone raised to expect respect and deference, it must have been jarring. Observers noticed his tension. He smiled at cameras, waved politely, Yet his body language revealed the truth. Hands clasped tightly, shoulders stiff, and the confident swagger he once carried in uniform was gone. This wasn't the Prince Harry of royal tours or balcony appearances. It was someone moving through familiar spaces that no longer felt like home. When footage surfaced of guards standing frozen as he walked by, social media ignited. The eerie calm spread rapidly. Millions of views, countless reposts, TikToks with dramatic music, YouTube breakdowns analyzing every frame. A quiet, professional visit transformed into a global spectacle. Every detail emphasized the unspoken truth. Respect is not automatic, not even for royalty, and actions have consequences, regardless of your status or past service. Some fans defended Harry, claiming the military's behavior was unfair, but the majority saw it as poetic justice. The message was unmistakable. Turn your back on tradition, and tradition turns its back on you. Insiders say Harry had hoped for a personal acknowledgement, maybe a nod from someone who had served under him, a glance from a familiar face in uniform, any small sign that he still belonged. But none of that occurred. The military, like the monarchy, functions through strict protocol, and Harry had stepped outside that chain of command. Even those who once stood beside him followed instructions that made him invisible. This blackout wasn't personal. It wasn't about liking or disliking him. It was about symbolism. Institutions communicate through gestures, or the deliberate absence of them. In this instance, no salute, no nod, no acknowledgement became one of the clearest messages Harry could receive. It was a reminder that respect is conditional, earned, and never guaranteed, even for a prince, and that actions have consequences. You're out. Until you fully return, if you ever do, the uniform doesn't acknowledge you. Pride matters too. For those still serving, especially the ones loyal to the crown, watching Harry air family grievances on television didn't sit right. The Oprah interview, the Netflix specials, the endless stream of revelations and criticisms aimed at the institution they vowed to protect. It wasn't just speaking his truth. To them, it felt like betrayal. Someone with privileged access to the inner circle chose spectacle over service. Even the British public is divided. Some argue Harry has been treated unfairly, sidelined for challenging tradition. Others see it differently. He made his choice, walked away, and is now living without the royal safety net. The optics of soldiers standing motionless as a prince walked past captured it perfectly. That scene went viral instantly, millions watching the silent rebuke. It's a stark reminder: respect is never guaranteed. It is earned, maintained, and conditional. Step outside the institution, even as a prince, and invisibility can be immediate, precise, and publicly undeniable. It reads like fiction, but it's reality. The deeper issue isn't merely the lack of ceremony, it's the understanding that Harry may never be fully welcomed back. Not by the soldiers, not by the staff, perhaps not even by the crown itself. His presence has evolved from that of a beloved prince to something far more complicated, a symbol of conflict, tension, and unresolved drama. Every subtle rejection, every averted glance, serves as a reminder that some doors don't simply reopen with an apology. Harry's schedule was filled with private meetings, yet behind closed doors, the atmosphere remained cold. Reports indicate he met with King Charles, but under strict limitations. No cameras, no official photographs, only tea. The conversation lasted less than an hour. No public statement followed, and the palace press offered no warmth or recognition. Whatever was discussed did little to change the optics or soften the silence. If anything, it accentuated the divide. Harry could enter the room but not the fold. One insider described the encounter as transactional, polite, surface level, and entirely devoid of genuine emotion. It was a meeting of two people going through the motions rather than reconnecting. And through it all, Meghan's influence lingered. Whether physically present or not, shaping perception and casting a shadow over every step. Harry's visit resembled two people following protocol rather than two family members trying to reconnect. The royal family is used to managing emotions privately, But this wasn't just private. It was distant, controlled, and every interaction meticulously planned. He wasn't treated as an enemy, but he wasn't welcomed like a son returning home either. He was handled, and in many ways that was worse. Outside the palace, commentators and critics went into overdrive. Every detail was scrutinized. Every gesture, or lack of one, was transformed into headlines. What Harry wore, who he spoke to, how long he stayed, even the routes his car took became fodder for speculation. Living life under a microscope isn't new for him, but this time, the lens focused on accountability. Was this a tentative comeback or confirmation of exile? The most striking truth: the guards didn't raise their voices. The staff didn't stage any scene. The palace didn't release statements. Yet the silence did all the work. It sent a message louder than any words could, a quiet but unmistakable reminder about status, loyalty, and the consequences of stepping away from tradition. That's the unique cruelty of royal protocol. It can exclude someone without ever confronting them directly. Harry, despite his fame and fortune, experienced that cold, surgical detachment firsthand. You aren't punished openly, you're ignored. And often, that is far more painful. Meghan Markle's absence was equally noticed. Many expected her to accompany Harry, yet she stayed in California. Whether a calculated choice or convenience, observers read into it. Some said it avoided further drama. Others argued it marked a permanent split between her and the royal institution. Either way, her absence allowed critics to place the blame for Harry's estrangement squarely on her. Uninterrupted, though not physically present, her influence lingered through tabloids, news stories, and Twitter threads. As Harry prepared to leave, nothing changed. No final salute, no formal gesture, no acknowledgement. The silence did all the work, delivering a stark message. Absence, whether of a salute or a spouse, can speak louder than words. Harry's send-off was quiet. No fanfare. No ceremonial gestures. Just a departure under the same shadow he had arrived with. By that point, it was clear the visit hadn't repaired much. Perhaps it opened a line of communication. Perhaps not. But the institution's message was unmistakable. Loyalty is currency, and if you spend it on personal narratives, you may not get any of it back. Public opinion remains divided. Some see Harry as a rebel prince, speaking uncomfortable truths to power. Others view him as a privileged figure who abandoned the very system that built him. The answer depends on who you ask, but the impact of the moment cannot be denied. The soldiers' refusal to salute, the palace's calculated neutrality, and the sharp, echoing silence in familiar halls sent a powerful message. For Harry, this visit was more than a trip. It was a reckoning. Not only with family, but with the institution that shaped his identity. In that world, there are no shortcuts to redemption. Fame cannot rewrite protocol, and Netflix specials cannot replace centuries of tradition. The crown doesn't chase anyone. To return fully, you must earn it.